What's up, good people? It's your boy Mr. Green Gaines with another video, and this one is going to be dedicated to acid reflux. I have a lot of people, good friend of mine, and some other people asking me about acid reflux, and it's problematic for millions of Americans. And pretty much acid reflux is basically when the sphincter that's in your esophagus, in between the bottom of your esophagus and your stomach, um, basically it doesn't close like it's supposed to. It contracts. It's a muscle, so it's basically like a cap or or a vessel that opens once you're chewing your food and you're digesting your food. It releases and relaxes in order for your food to go down into your stomach. Now, a proper functioning one is supposed to close once the food is gone. But people with acid reflux have a weakened sphincter muscle in their esophagus. So when your stomach starts to create acid that's used to break down foods and start to break down those foods in your stomach, a lot of times that acid can splash up into the throat where you may be feeling like, oh, it's your heart that's burning or things of that nature. It's actually the acid reflux kicking back up into the esophagus and causing that burning sensation in your chest. So that's kind of what's going on with acid reflux. Now, some of the main things you want to avoid just out the gate: alcohol, dairy, and smoking. Those are going to be some of the main things that create a lot of acid in your system and cause a lot of acid buildup in your body, where your body becomes less alkaline. So you want to eliminate those things. In my opinion, from the research I've done, you want to eliminate alcohol, smoking, and dairy as quickly as you can from your diet, especially if you're someone who suffer on the more extreme end of acid reflux. Maybe if you're already on a healthier diet and you're not experiencing the worst of the symptoms that come with it, you may have a little more wiggle room, kind of that 80-20, 90-10 rule. But you want to avoid those things because they're going to contribute to the condition and worsening and you feeling worse and creating more acid in your system. So that'd be the first thing I'd say. Another thing I would want to say is, even though grains are good, a lot of positive grains are out there that we use and gain benefit from, or someone with acid reflux, I would say you might want to lay back on the grains, just because, again, you create more acid to break down grains. Grains are harder to break down than a leafy vegetable or fruity vegetables that have a high water content. So things like rice and pasta and things like rice, pasta, or different breads and things like that. You want to kind of avoid that if you can, because again, your body's going to have to produce more acid to break down those things, because rice and oatmeal and those things have like a more of a glue, sticky type texture, which means it's going to be stuck together. So your body needs that acid to break it apart, break it down, and then send it elsewhere where it needs to access all of the nutrients from it in your body. So I would lay back kind of on the greens. And I've heard some misconceptions about, should I eat vegetables and fruits and things like that. Now, some people say the acidic fruits are dangerous. I don't believe that to be. You can leave that up to your own judgment. Things like tomatoes and apples and all those things, or citrus fruits specifically, because they're acid in nature, but in your body they are actually alkaline. So in my opinion, from what I've read, I've seen both sides. So I would say you kind of have to play that one by ear. If you eat tomatoes, you want to test and see how your reaction is to that, and other citrus fruits and things of that nature. But I'm always going to promote that you eat a lot of leafy greens, vegetables, and changing your overall dietary habits is going to be the ultimate goal in you getting rid of the acid reflux. There is no quick fix. There are certain things you can do with acid reflux to alleviate symptoms in the moment. You can, chewing on ginger root is a good form of inflammation relief. Ginger is really good with that. So you can take like a small piece of ginger, a couple inches, chew on that and absorb the factors that the ginger has, because they work well on the stomach. Because most people with acid reflux have a low acid balance in their stomach, believe it or not, is because, again, a lot of that acid is coming back up because that sphincter valve is not closing. So a lot of your acid is in the esophagus. So it's becoming problematic for you throughout the day when you're eating all these foods, because you're building so much acid, and you don't have an alkaline balance from the other foods. And that's the thing. You want to get an alkaline balance in your body, when that comes from fresh fruits, vegetables, and things of that nature. So leafy greens is always good. As far as the diet goes, to try to get yourself back alkaline, they have a lot of nutrition. And then you have to, mineral and vitamin wise, you're getting stripped from your bones. A lot of times when you have acid reflux, your body is losing calcium, so it's pulling calcium out of your bones in order to send it back into the rest of your body to use that calcium in order for you to function. But you're stripping your bones, which could lead to arthritis and bone-related issues later down the line. So you really want to change around your entire diet to a more alkaline-based diet, which is fruits, vegetables, and those things. But also is a good thing you can possibly try is juicing. You can try a quick juice fast of celery juice, carrot juice, mixing those things in, because they have built up in the potassium, which will help with the stomach and balancing out, and you're not taxing the system. You're giving the digestive system a rest to where it's not producing more acid to break down more food, because that's what your body does. When you eat, it's going to produce acid in order to break down those foods and get it out of the stomach and send everything to where it needs to be to function. So you have to be mindful of that, and those are some things you can do. Another thing you can do to kind of alleviate discomfort at night, definitely you can kind of avoid trying to eat 2 hours prior to going to bed, just because if you're going to eat late and then go to sleep, that means that your body's going to produce acid and start breaking down that food while you're in bed. And a lot of times the acid reflux is happening while you're asleep, and that can be a problematic thing where either you're not getting rest, or while you're asleep you're actually dealing with the symptoms, but you don't know because your body's in a resting state. And you got to think, it's a liquid, and liquids still have to acknowledge the laws of gravity. So when you lay down and you have that sphincter that's open and you're laying parallel to the floor or to your bed, you got to think that liquid from your stomach is spilling into your esophagus. So now you got that acid in your throat while you're sleeping. So you want to be mindful of that and try to avoid eating really late before you go to bed and just laying down right away, because that can add to it. And a little trick you can do with that is you can kind of elevate the head side of your bed. You can put books, or you can put something to kind of give an incline to your bed, so that way you kind of, your esophagus is almost down at a 45-degree angle, so that way just naturally gravity will apply to the liquid to where it's not getting in to your throat as much while you're sleeping. Now, I don't recommend that you just put a pillow behind your bed, because that's not raising up the chest and the sternum as well. That's just the head. So you want to get that chest and that sternum up, so that way that esophagus is angled down to where the stomach acid is not going in that direction. Because if you lay flat, just laws of gravity is going to make that acid spill over. And if the sphincter is open, that means acid is getting through. So those are some of the things. Some other good stuff is licorice root is known to be good with that. You can also put a shot of apple cider vinegar organic in a glass of water in the mornings, and take about a teaspoon of that, a couple teaspoons of that in your water. See how your body reacts to this. That's known to help with acid reflux. Like I said, the licorice chews or the licorice root, you most likely will want to find a healthy probiotic. You can probably find that at your local health food store, where it's going to give you that healthy bacteria that you need to help break down the things and not tax the system and the stomach so hard to where that acid is such buildup that it's stripping the internal layers of the stomach, because you don't want that to happen. Acid is in your body naturally, but you just don't want to become overwhelmed with acid, because that leads to chronic inflammation and pain and illnesses of that nature. And again, pulling minerals and vitamins out of other places in your body to overcompensate for this area. So those are the things that I would say are kind of some things you want to do to focus on eliminating and moving past the acid reflux. So, I mean, that all of us, we have to do independent research on our own to save ourselves the best we can. That's the goal always. But those are some things you can do in the day-to-day. Juicing the celery, juicing the carrots, mixing those in, getting that in, not eating the dairy, not drinking alcohol, not smoking, cut back on the grains, so that way that your body doesn't need a lot of acid to produce, to break down these harsh taxing foods on the system that are required to a lot of acid to relieve and eliminate to go to the bowel. So that's the key with acid reflux. If you have any more questions, you can reach out to me on my YouTube channel, or you can reach to me in my email at mrgreengains91. That's Gains with a Z at the end. And I hope this video helped, and keep striving, keep moving forward. I'll see y'all soon.